Okay, here we go. Longxia Mala or Mala Longxia. I'm just gonna call him Longxia just because we have two Malas in the game and we don't want it to get confused. So here we go. Longxia Mala. We'll be talking about him. He's actually the newest addition for the fire team, a Tagger Smash, an epic. By the way, replaces Malasauce because Malasauce has been in the fire team for, let's just say, roughly 1 or 2 years, that kind of thing. I think it's over a year, but not over 2 years. Okay, anyway, we'll be taking a look at his skills, promotions, and sets. So yeah, and also the artifact. Alright, so starting first, let's talk about his promotion. So first up is we have the with all my heart and soul, special skill damage increase, impede wildfire, also increase damage from fire cookies, which is really great since he is a tagger that gives the damage taken from cookies. Sorry, just like marble berry, steak nougat, banana roti, and other taggers. He's pretty much quite the same, but only for the fire team. So yeah, he actually has that buff right here. The third promotion is the Unbreakable Resolve. Impede Wildfire for increased damage taken from fire cookies. And also this actually increases his ultimate damage, which is actually really cool. Actually, all of these are just like, this is for special, this is for his ultimate, which is really cool. Alright, next is the 4-star promotion, which is really high, but hey, it's actually really cool. A fragment of a crimson heart. Gain 3 stacks of fighting spirit at the start of the battle. If you're thinking, what is the fighting spirit? Well, technically, fighting spirit is actually the stacks, the flame orbs that you see on Mala. So that way, he can use his special skills and ultimate right away. Because if you don't have Longxia Mala for 4 stars, and you can actually not use the special skill or ultimate, but it still works. But if you have it, it's instant. You can use the special and ultimate. However, if you don't have him to 4 stars, you can still use the special skill and ultimate, but it will take some time. All right, let's talk about his artifact first. His artifact is called the Festival Shadow. Its default crit rate is 25, and this actually gives him the special skill that grants the Scarlet Heart hits Zen Flame Drop, applies the Zen Shell Flame, and the Scarlet Heart is increased on his attack with a duration of 30 seconds, and the Zen Shell Flame for the ultimate damage taken for 30%. Basically, a lot of modifiers from damage taken from cookies if you use Longxia. He actually has a lot, which means he's actually a pretty good tagger, not gonna lie. However, let's talk about his equipment first. Well, since he is a tagger that doesn't have any LM res, however, you can still use it, but in other game modes. But if you're using him normally in on guild battles, and of course the abyss raids and regular raid modes and rank raids, you will be running golden finery because the golden finery set doesn't have that elemental resistance. Okay, now what will be his hidden powers? He was actually gonna run 2 fire elemental attacks on his unique, and of course you actually want, let's count here, you want 2 attack. I have that hidden power on the head as well as on the legs, and of course you actually want 3 crit rates. So all of these actually has crit rates. Actually, not crit rates, crit damage. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. You want 2 attack right here, right? And you also want 3 crit damage right here. And of course, you want 1 crit rate. Why? Well, because we actually has a really high crit rate when you promote him using the skill potions, and of course his artifact actually increases his crit rate, which is actually really cool. And you want that low enough and also high enough for the crit damage to kick in. Haha, get it? Well, anyway, we're gonna go ahead and go for his Seasonite. His Seasonite is actually going to be the Lychee Coral right here with the Shining Galaxy. You can go for other Shining Galaxies, but I'm actually really lucky because I already have a lot of Shining Galaxies, as you guys can see on my account. I'm getting really unlucky with my Seasonites. I don't even have a Herbal or a Vanilla Almond left for buffers and for the special and for the passives of other cookies who are using those. But hey, we got Lychee Coral, which is actually really cool. Alright, now let's talk about his skills. His skills actually called the Heart Residual Hit. Hits with basic attacks and special skill or hits from applied cookies while the cookies switch out. The first phase is actually if you're planning to use Longxia solo, like on the prologue, the adventure mode. If you switch him out with another cookie, you will get those stacks. And also, this is actually the stacks underneath. Yes, he's one of those cookies again who has stacks underneath. And of course, when the key maxed, the key, that is actually his what you call the bar underneath him, which is actually interesting. You can now have a chance to use his ultimate. Then finally, we can also have this. This with all attacks against enemies go with Plague Shields grants the aspiration. This is actually Plague Shields for adventure mode. Chapter 4, the Living Lonely Streets, where Phoenix Pepper and Longxia is found, and of course the current season of Abyss raids because they have Plague Shields. So yeah, and we also have these ones right here. And we have the irreversibility damage taken from cookies, which is another debuff. Alright, for the basic skills, we are called Relentless Strikes. Unleash the bands of powerful Inferno Bands to attack up to 4 times in succession, which is actually really cool. Inferno Bands is actually what you call to his unique. And of course, we have the tag, the regular special skill, True Zen Flames. This is what you call the Fighting Spirit. Fighting Spirit is actually the orbs or the flame orbs that you see around or right next to Longxia. This is actually really cool because if you have 0, you're actually performing ignition, which is a powerful kick. That is no stacks, okay? You will be starting first with no stacks. Then therefore, if you have 1, if you use this special skill with this one, you will be getting the first stack, which is actually the flare. Take 5 times in succession to deal damage. And of course, if you actually have 2, you will perform the blaze attack, which is perform 2 roundhouse kicks around the enemies to deal damage, which is actually pretty cool. And as you guys know, there's a third one, pretty crazy. This is what you call the Zen Flame Drop. Consumes all stacks of fighting spirits and instantly leaps to the enemies. This is the, let's just say, kind of like the finishing move of his special skill, which is actually really crazy. And of course, it will have this. It will give the enemies the damage taken from cookies, which is 30 seconds. That's actually a lot. Pretty crazy. And of course, his dash, we actually have 2 of those. Pretty cool. Same thing to Wasp, but not on Phoenix Pepper. Same thing to Ginger Brave, pretty cool. And of course his ultimate, which is the Onslaught. Consumes all key. Remember that the key is actually the stacks underneath and unleashes the fire carapace of flames. That's what you call around his ultimate, and will give the enemies the imbued wildfire. The imbued wildfire is what you call the debuff for the enemies. Yeah, there's a lot of terms here, which is really crazy. Well, anyway, enough talking. Let's go ahead and perform these skills into the training grounds. All right, we'll see you guys there. All right, we are here. As you guys can see, since I have a 4-star promotion which is needed, we actually get to use the ultimate right away. And at the start of the battle, if we have 4-star promotion again, we actually got 3 fighting spirit. The fighting spirit is of course the 3 flame orbs that we see. It will get consumed after we use our special skill, and the key, the fire stack underneath Longxia's health, is for the ultimate. Okay, so here we go. So by the way, here's the dash. Pretty simple. He has 2. It's actually really quick. Alright, and then here's the basic attack. Then boom, he's performing 4. Then afterwards, we'll be taking kind of like an interval break here. It's actually really cool. Alright, so let's move on. Since we have 3 stacks, we are actually be performing the Zen Flame Drop, which is a huge AoE damage right here. There we go. There we go, and we applied the tag. As you guys can see, we have no stacks left, which means we are performing the flare. Here's this. Pretty cool. Sorry, not flare, the ignition. That's the powerful kick. Alright, so since we have the first stack, we have the, I think this is what you call the flare. So there we go, 5 times. Next one, since we have 2, here is the roundhouse. There we go, he spins. Pretty cool. And then finally, since we have 3, here's the Zen Flame Drop. Alright, now let's do that again. 0 stacks, we're starting work with the ignition. In normal kit, this grants us access to the first stack of the fighting spirit. This is the flare. Second stack is the blaze with 2 roundhouse. There we go. And the third, we have the Zen flame drop. There we go. Alright. Now finally, let's do the all-out onslaught again. This is what his ultimate. Right here. This is a big range on it. There we go. Alright. Alright, there we go. And how do you get the keep attacking and then, you know? There we go. Yeah. There we go. Every single time you actually perform a fighting spirit, your key will actually get, you know, have an increase, basically. Alright, there we go. Let me do one more. Alright, now let's do this to the enemies. Right here, starting with stacks number 3, the Zen flame drop. There we go. The 0 stacks, which is the ignition. The first stack, which is the flare, kick 5 times, and the second stack, which is the blaze, which is 2 roundhouse attacks. There we go. And the third again, the Zen flame drop. And for the ultimate, the all-out onslaught right here. There we go. Pretty cool. And here's his normal attack again. Alright, there we go. Pretty cool. There we go. And also, every single time you do a tag and an ultimate attack, you're obviously gonna give the enemies the tag effect because Longxia is a tagger. Alright? Crazy thing is, he actually doesn't have a charge up attack, unlike others like Phoenix here. He has a charge up attack. And Wasp as well. But yeah, he doesn't have one. And you know, in terms of dash, Phoenix doesn't have one, but hey, Longxia has one. Has 2 actually. So yeah, here is the, you know, the Zen flame drop, the ignition, the flare, kick 5 times, the blaze. There we go, and Zen flame drop again. There we go. As you guys can see, we have to fill up our key, and so that way we can use our ultimate, which is pretty interesting. There we go. Boom! Alright, that should be fine. Let's go here. I don't think we're actually gonna be helpful here. There we go. Okay, let me see. Here we go. Let's see if it's filling up, you know. Let's attack, right? Yeah, okay. So first off, we have to keep an eye for this. We are actually gonna use the passive here, which is, you know, every single time we switch, we are indeed getting some stacks for Longxia, the key. So let's go here. Attack. Attack. One more. And yeah, it's actually getting bigger. Pretty cool. There we go, we do it again. There we go. Yeah, that is really cool. Really cool. Like I said, this only works for single mode, so the prologue, the adventure mode, for soloing the Abyss dungeon, and of course the Glass Labyrinth. If you're soloing it, you will get some stacks. Also really cool. Okay, here we go. Alright, so now let's go ahead and put this into the raid mode. We're gonna do a ton of raid modes today, which is actually going to be really cool. So yeah. Alright, we are at raid mode. Actually, I actually wanna get the what do you call this one? The mastery for Longxia, because it's the only one that I need. It's the newest Yuki, it's the only one that I need. We're really close. Roughly I need is 26 tickets, but if that's a lot of tickets to do in one run, it's not gonna make everything for this video. I think we're just gonna go like, you know, some key features and stuff. Okay, so let's just do like maybe like 5 battles, and then at the end of the video, I think we're gonna do it and grind a lot to grab ourselves the mastery for this one. I think that would have been pretty nice. Alright, so I'll see you guys in the first match. Alright, we are it, and we are actually a whole fire team. Well, only two Longxias, which is pretty cool, and one Phoenix, and of course, a Peach. Well, hey, since it's raid mode, you can pretty much choose whatever you want. If you're grinding for masteries, go for it. If you want to have some fun, go for it. So, yeah. Well, anyway, this is actually a Funny the Bear, which is actually really cool. So, okay, I'm actually really annoyed that, as you guys know, that Funny the Bear, you can select the curtains being zoomed out. It's gonna look really cool. We don't really have that. As you guys can see, there's a lot of debuffs. That is insane. There's a lot of debuffs because if you're using Longxia, actually really a lot. Not gonna lie, it's a lot of debuffs. Let me lower the volume here a little bit. There we go. There we go, that's the first one. Let's do another. Yes. Alright, here we go. Hopefully they will. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but hey, it's fine. We're gonna see you guys in the next match. Alright, here we go. Second, we actually have Rye and Bacon in as our fighters, and you as our supports, and me. Really cool. Usually they're not moving here. Usually there is, but hey. Put the attack first, do this, use the ultimate. We don't even have to use it. Really crazy, because Bacon burst the boss really quickly. Anyway, that's the second one. Let's go for the third one. Let's see what we get first. Oh, a magician. That's pretty cool. Alright, also, remember, I'm doing raid mode just because for the mastery. I'm so close on finishing it, so yeah. Well, anyway, I'm gonna show you guys the third one. Alright, here we go. Third match. Quite the same. We're quite the same. All of us actually click play again, which is really cool. What's this? I mean, I'm just gonna click my ultimate, and yeah, the boss is already get bursted, which is pretty crazy. However, hey, that's the third one. Two more. Did not get anything good there, but hey, I'll take the Doritos. Doritos, you know the what do you call this one? This one's right here. The equipment fragments. I have a lot, actually, insane. All right, here we go. We'll see you guys in the fourth. Here we go. The dude did not hit play again, but hey, I'm fine. We're fine, right? That would have been nice. Okay. Come on. There we go. I mean, here's the thing. When you're doing this, I feel like, you know, like, is it Funny the Bear or is it Bunloon? I think it's Funny the Bear because usually this is zoomed out. It's really cool, but they just actually removed it. I mean, hey, I'm not mad. I mean, I'm actually quite mad because it's one of those few ones that we are actually being zoomed in. The other one is the sugar one, but for this one, you know, like the magic show thing, it's really cool. I actually enjoyed it. All right, there we go. Last match. Then I'm gonna grind up a little bit for the title. So yeah, because it's cookie training today. As you guys know, the cookie training is actually one of the best events actually they have. Why? Because for mastery, cookie mastery, your raid tickets and your Tower Rift tickets is 120 points instead of the usual 60, which is, you know, really cool. That saves us a lot of tickets and of course a lot of time. So this is actually the perfect place to grind up those raid tickets that I actually been hoarding. So yeah, that is actually really, really fun. Okay. Come on, I think come on, please load. There we go. Alright. Last match, and then I'm gonna show you guys the last clip actually going to be the mastery. There we go. Let's see if we can, you know, use our ult. Wow. Not even halfway, the boss is already got bursted. Okay, I was thinking, okay, maybe if I use my ultimate really quickly, that would have been nice, but decided not to. Alright, here we go. Last match, well, the last clip is definitely going to be the mastery, so I'm gonna see you guys there. Okay, so I think this is going to be the last one. If the which I can just decide so much on the camera. So yeah, I think this is going to be the last one, so that way we can now get the title, which is really cool. Okay, the mastery should turn from gold 1 to purple, which means we can now get the title, which is really amazing. So yeah, I did about 26, 27 raids. That's the benefit of the cookie training, and there we go. We can now have the amazing title, which is really amazing, really cool, perfect. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and claim that really quickly. Then we can wrap up the video. Go over here, go to detail, go to mastery, perfect. Claim this. Of course, don't forget to grab the cheeky screenshot. There we go. Alright. Well, that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoy, and we'll see you guys on the next one.